mind go when we leave the body?
Mind goes nowhere. Everything vanishes. All memories go. Mind is the outcome of your perception. Mind means perception. That's what you are talking about. Or you are talking about heart and decision and my boyfriend, my girlfriend. You are talking that, or you are talking the total perception in the body.
The perception.
Perception. Perception is there. But whatever memories, whatever alternatives you want all the time, they are already some of the vibrations which needs to be, actually it needs a lot of clarification there. I need to talk on death. What happens in the death? What is death? Without understanding that, it will not be clear. First thing, understand, death is only a concept. It's an illusion. Nobody dies. Right now, we are living in this body. So whatever this body is capable of doing, accordingly, we want to feel everything through this body. Whatever way we think we will be secure in the future, we want to do through this body. Okay? So everything around us, whatever is there, we get caught up, our perception is caught up only into the objects. Our perception is never for the subjects. Now this means that this perception is a process. It activates and it deactivates. Every day when you go to deep sleep, your perception finishes of the object. Yet you have some perception that anything happens to your body, sensitivity is left. You are in a deep sleep and a pain comes, or your bed becomes uncomfortable, or something happens to your body, you immediately wake up. You are in a very deep sleep and you feel like peeing and you wake up. Your perception is caught up. You are in a deep sleep and suddenly something happens in your belly which is not comfortable and you wake up. This means perception is there but inactive. Any activity in the object makes you awake. Is it not? Simply, the same thing happens in the world. You get up in the morning and you perceive everything around you. So perception comes back and all your memories in this life come back. Past life, you don't have any memory, it's finished. So what happens when you go to deep sleep? Your perception dies, means with the object it dies. Objectification stops, activity stops, but perception remains subdued. So any disturbance in their perception, you are perceiving something, but it is inactive. This is how we live. in this form. The only thing which dies is the form. In which form you are. You are in the form of this woman, whom we call woman. So your perception is based on woman. Woman is identification. So you are in this form and your perception is there. But it is associated with the form. You call it as body, but that body is only form. Every expressed form, if you see, then there is no difference. All these women in the world, they have the same body, same shape, same organs. All the men have the same organs. So nothing is different. This means there is only one man and one woman in the world. All the bodies are the same. Nobody has 5 hands, nobody has 10 hands, nobody has 1 hand, nobody has 1 belly, nobody has 25 breasts, and nobody has. If it anything like that, then it will not be beautiful. But they all have the same thing. This means it's only one form, that is woman, one form, that is man. It has been expressed into many different ways, and then it acts differently because every mind thinks differently. That comes with the identification and ego and everything. That is the classification of the perception. But to perceive, that perception never dies. That whole perception altogether is called as subtle body. We have 3 bodies: physical form, subtle form, causal form. Physical form is this gross body. Subtle form is the perception. Through perception we identify. Through perception we identify ourselves, and as per the identification our desires come. As per the identification we decide what is good for us and what is not. If perception is not there, then what is there? Nothing. So it is a classification of the perception into 4 different ways. That is the subtle body. So that perception, capability to perceive, does not die. Physical form also do not die. Physical body do not die. Form is anyhow not stable. The only thing unstable in this whole process is the form. Form is changing every moment, faster than the nanosecond. Nanosecond and the form has changed. It is so unstable, so unstable. Maybe the millionth of the part of the nanosecond and the form changes. And this change is so in such a short moment that we don't recognize this change immediately. That change is recognized in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 10 years. You don't look the same what you looked 5 years before. If you only see the photographs 4 years before and today, you say, oh, it is me. How the appearance has changed. So, form is based on appearance, and appearance is so fast changing. What happens that through perception is the capacity of your jiva, the consciousness, that has perception. For your body does not have perception. It's only a matter. And because of this perception, we shape this body into a particular shape as per our desires of the past life. So we shape this body as per the desires of the past life to live out whatever we wanted to live out in the past life, which we could not live out. Like in this life, how many things you wanted to live out and you could not live out? Why? Because your form changed. At one particular moment, whatever happens, happens at a particular moment. And at that moment, you live it out with that type of form, and next moment the form is different. So the same thing doesn't happen the next moment, because the form has changed. Similarly, your mind thinks the same way, always wanting something else. Maybe in shorter than a moment, you want 20 different things to happen, which we do not recognize. So this perception, capacity to perceive, this is totally misused by our confusion, by our illusion that this form is me, and we do not know that this form is changing every moment. So that moment we have come to live out in this life. Now death, this means form is anyhow unstable. It is dying every second. Every second the form is dying. It is so unstable. It is already dead. We are changing our form inside the jiva, the consciousness. The form is anyhow being changed by the time. It is like the earth is rotating, the time is going on. Time, it keeps on making the earth rotate. Earth do not know. Similarly, our body being rotated and we do not know. Every second we are going changing. So it's a dead thing which we are changing all the time. So whatever we think we have today it will not be there. But we get so much attached to it, we do not know that body is leaving us. It is changing anyhow. It is not even if we want to hold it, the time will keep on changing and the body will go one day. Because we are carrying a dead form which doesn't have its own activity. This form does not have its own activity. It is dead. Even that moment when it changes, even then it changes because it is dead. It is a dead mold and we change it. The consciousness changes it. So body, the matter, the shape is changing. Have you ever seen a pot maker making a pot? Have you seen? Nowadays, if the factories make it, but if you see by hand somebody makes this pot or sculpture, they rotate the very big circle there, very big wheel, and on top of that there is a pot, and they put the hand there. So as long as the pot, that wheel is going, the pot, he is giving it the shape left and right, and then the shape comes out. Isn't it? Similarly, with this wheel of the time, we are making this pot. Pot comes up in a shape, but it is not alive. It is dead pot. It is only a clay and nothing else. You never call a pot alive. You never call a statue alive. It is dead. Similarly, is this clay in which we are living in this body. It's already dead. It is not. It doesn't have any of its activity. When the time comes, the last moment, the dead body is dead and we separate from it. But all through the life, whatever we wanted to associate with this, to get something from this body, those things create a vibrations in the mind of us. Those vibrations we leave in this clay which we have. Because with the same vibrations, in the next life the same body will be given a shape, so that at the time when the perception comes to live out of the past lives wishes for which we have given this body a shape, so at that time that vibrations are available for us to live out that wish. It is so beautifully connected together. It's a beautiful woven program. So next life, at that time, this clay will have the same perception, same vibration at that time to listen, to undergo a certain program which we are bringing in our perception from the past life. So we can use it at that moment. Otherwise we cannot use our own body. It's a point by point, dot by dot, dot by dot, dot by dot programming. So if you disintegrate this body, only dots will disintegrate. And those dots will reassemble by us in the next life. And whatever matter goes out of this body in this life, in that also contains our way of thinking, our thoughts. That goes out through shit, through breath, everywhere, every second. So that shit and that breath and that pee and that sweating, that all makes a vibration next life. That comes back as a food for us to eat in the next life, next body. Because even with that food, that thought will come in the mind, that vibration will come in the body. To live out this karma is a very complicated thing. I cannot make you understand like that. You have to only realize it. So, physical body does not die. If the physical matter we lose, then how are we going to live out our next life? That part of the karma, whatever body, if we have a new body, that will not listen to our programming for the next life. So the same body with the same vibrations is used for the next life, only in a different form. That's it. Body does not die. Then comes perception. Perception also does not die. It cannot die. Because perception and this body, without perception, the body is not alive. Means it has disconnected from the body. They subside for some time in this alive time. Like what has happened, that you wanted to have, when you were young, you wanted to have this body like this, and whatever body came, your youth went away. In this life, whatever you want to do in next life, accordingly you say, I have worn the clothes and this and that and everything. But those thought comes from your programming. What you want to do, what you want to appear. Because I am appearing good or I am looking bad. This good, you are looking good, then you have a good feeling. I am looking bad, you have a bad feeling. So have a good feeling and a bad feeling at a particular time. This is called as karma, which is based on appearance. This whole body of yours has changed, but your perception remains. That has not changed. Your perception only has objectified itself. When you were young, you became young. You are old, you become old. You become teenage, you become teenage, you become both. So perception is recognizing on the basis of the shape that this is what I am. But has the perception ever died? Your body has changed. You are not looking as you used to look when you were 15 years of age. Your body has changed. Means that 15 years age is dead. Long time back. That you cannot get back, but the perception is continuing. Your childhood, you have some memories of your childhood, right? Some things, not everything. So those memories are there. Perception, memory in the form of whatever you perceived at that time, that has come in the memory. So that memory is there, but that childhood is dead, finished. You are no more child. So your answer is here that you die but perception continues. That's what you asked me, that what happens when we die, perception remains or not? Perception remains, even body remains. Third is the causal body. Causal body means your habits, your nature. Your habits and your nature, that capability to have a habit and a nature, that also do not die. Yes, as per your identification in next life, the same habit and perception will come, and that will make you feel good and bad, because some action which is good for you may be bad for me. Some action which is good for me may be bad for you. Some event you may like, I may not like. Event is the same, effect is different on different person. When effect is different on different person, why? Because everybody has a different nature. This is why everybody is affected by the same event differently. And that is called as causal body. Cause to make you feel good or bad. That is your nature. Every individual has its own. Because of this causal body, we live in this body. Because of this nature, this temperament of us, we live in this form. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes unhappy, sometimes happy, sometimes unhappy. Why? Because what we wanted in the past life, like what we want in this life, we live out only that which we have brought in the past life to live out. But what happens is what happens is that we have to feel bad about it, so we will feel bad about it, because the causal body is affecting that. Things are happening in this life which we say, why is it happening to me? Good or bad? But it is the causal body which is making you full of good or bad. Event is the same. The same thing. Say one event is good for somebody, the same event is bad for somebody. For all those people, terrorists, all this killing and everything is very good. They clap, they are happy. And for us, it is bad. It is not good. Same event. Whatever happens. Why? Their causal body is making them feel like that. Our causal body. Reason is different for our happiness and happiness. Event is the same, but reason is inside, that this reason is good for me or this is bad for me. This capacity also do not die. They are all the functions of our own consciousness, energy of the consciousness. As long as we are blind, we don't see that. Because if the causal body dies, like in this life, if your causal body nature had died, then you would have not felt good and bad. what you felt good and bad in the 10 years before, the same thing is becoming reason for you to be good and bad. The only thing changes it is the knowledge of the truth. Then you see that this is all illusion, it is not right. So neither the perception dies, nor the body dies, nor the causal body dies. They remain the same. Now the energy, the jiva, the consciousness which we have inside, which you call as soul, that cannot die. It is out of question. It is one, it is like an ocean. A bubble comes here, bubble comes there, bubble comes there, wave comes here, wave comes there, but the ocean remains the same. Soul, there is no question of dying. Then the soul expresses, in the expression, these are the three things: physical form, subtle form or the perception, causal form. Then why causal form? Because that nature becomes the point of motivation to live out the life. As per our nature, we want to mold our life, which we called as life or living. Living is impacted by our own nature, the way we live. Life is not impacted by the life is the source, but living is impacted by our nature, how we live, what way we live. Everybody lives differently, everybody has a different nature. So this also do not die, because if this dies, then next life what will happen? If we don't have a nature to make our living, then where is our happiness and unhappiness? All these things, they do not die. The awareness which identifies the body as me, that never dies. Body does not die because it has to keep on going to take a next shape. So neither the body dies, nor the awareness dies, nor the source dies. Then what dies? The telephone disconnected. I will wait for a second. So what happens that if soul does not die? No question. So that is the consciousness and its energy. With the energy, all the form, all the activities, all the perception, they are all the play of the energy. But it all is happening within the realm of consciousness. Consciousness is one, energy is the same. Energy is the only thing which is going. Sometimes you feel high, sometimes you feel low. It's constant. So energy, it is the capability of the energy to express and sustain for some time and finish. So these three stages are the stages of the energy. So changes happen in the energy because it is expressing itself for the short time. So time is also in the realm of energy, but everything is moving in that time, because even if it is a circle of expression, sustenance, finish, again expression, so this is whole energy is doing. Consciousness doesn't have to do anything because it is omnipresent everywhere. It doesn't have to reach anywhere, it doesn't have to go anywhere. Ocean doesn't have to have wave. Wave are just coming and going in the ocean, that's it. So that's the difference between ocean and the wave. So energy is creating all that thing. So whatever is created by the energy, that has to finish because the energy for that creation is limited. It will again come back and recreate itself that is the absolute time or absolute consciousness which is totally void. Nothing happens there. All this activity is the game of the energy, and it is anyhow temporary. So in this realm of energy, we make the form and we go back into the formless. Again we make the form and again express, unexpress, express, unexpress, express, sustenance, unexpress. That whole cycle keeps on going. And with that energy, the moment that energy makes a form, it combines itself with the form, and this capability to think and perceive is in this energy. And that energy immediately thinks that this form is me. So the combination of the form and the energy of the consciousness, which starts from formless to form, the moment they combine together, what comes up in between is this heart, mind, this and that and whatnot, and the nature and the causal body and this and that. So this whole thing, as long as this cycle is going, nobody dies. That energy never dies. It expresses for a short time but comes back. Because if it dies, then it will not be able to express itself next time. Its only expression finishes. So in this life, this form which we are carrying is anyhow dead. It is only a shape. The mold by which the shape has taken, that never dies. There is no death there. The capability to perceive never dies, because in the next life, the same capability of perception will come back with the next form. As the mold will take the next form, and the moment we will go into the next form, as per our own wishes, we will again combine it with that. And again the same perception will be there. Causal body, the nature, the moment we combine with the form, that nature is based upon our own wishfulness, what we want. So that nature will come back immediately for us to make our living. Living means all the events in the life. Whole journey of life is the living. The way we want to live, accordingly it will happen. To make it feel good or bad. So perception does not die, form do not die, and the energy by which it is happening, that also do not die. For short time, it finishes its cycle, and next life, again a cycle begins. So this whole thing is going on. Nobody dies. With the energy, we have the thing that we have an identification, capability to identify. So that which I said, where the mind comes out, the source and its energy to think, and the moment it joins with the form, something comes up, and that thing is called as perception, or the mind, which has identification, awareness, reason and logic, and objectification, based on objectification. One is called as awareness, second is ego, third is reason and logic, or the intellect, and the fourth is objectification, which is heart. They have further classification. Heart has the capability of getting impacted, emotions and this and that, all that thing comes in under the realm of heart. The decision making capacity doesn't have anything. They get influenced by the mind and heart, and accordingly we decide. Identification, nothing. The whole game comes on the basis of the identification. We are all sitting there, same, You identify yourself as Lani, Preeti identifies as Preeti, Hari identifies as Hari, Anil identifies as Anil. So like that, everybody is identifying themselves differently, though the form is same. No difference. Everybody is identifying one man and one woman, nothing else. Expressing the same form, and everybody is identifying themselves different, as if your body is different and Preeti's body is different. We are both the same thing. So that one which has the capability to identify, that does not die. Because if that dies, then the total identification in the next life finishes. This form, on the basis of which we identify ourselves, this form is already dead. It is only a mold, and it does not die. Form dies, but not the body. Mold does not die. Identifying with the shape of something, that is what we do. We identify, this is the coffee pot, this is the tumbler, this is the cup, this is the house, but it all is clay. Everything has come from the earth, and everything will go in the earth. There is no difference. All the tree, all the say animals, everything, whatever we are identifying, and that all is the outcome of the earth and will go in the earth. Only it has appeared in a different shape. Activity is provided by the same consciousness. Same thing is with all the planets. We identify this is Mars and this is Sun and this is this and this is this. But they are all the same expression. One day they will all finish, gone, coming out from the same. So this identifier does not die. And what is identified, my body does not die. Shape is anyhow illusion. It is anyhow changing. So what dies is the identification with the form at a particular time. You identify yourself as Lani, that identification dies. But capability to identify does not die. So neither the identifier dies nor the identified dies. What dies is the identification. Like your identification that I am a child is dead now. Right now it is working, I am a woman. That's what it is. And that too on the basis of I am a hairdresser, so you become a hairdresser from the woman. I become a guru, so from a human being I become a guru. So that identification perceives. And from that we develop lot of pride and this and that. That is all the karma which we have to live out. But we do not know that all this is false. It's all on the basis of form, and we identify ourselves on the basis of status. So that all is not real. It's all finished. All is the expression of the same, and expression will finish one day. So therefore nothing exists. Whatever is spirituality, whatever God is perceived, whatever work is perceived, whatever money we are going for, everything is all illusion. It will all go. It's all temporary. It's all unreal. It's all fickle. It all is unstable. It all is related with the form. Nothing else. And form is always changing, and it is we who are changing the form. That is what we forget. We who are changing the form, not the form is not changing by itself. It doesn't have even that capacity to change by itself. It is we who are changing it, but we forget it. Everything, form and everything, it's all illusion. And nobody dies, it comes up and goes, comes up and goes, but it doesn't exist. This continuity of coming up and going and coming up and going, this continuity, this is the fixed nature of the expressed form. That also is fixed. Even that fickle-mindedness is also fixed. Every form has that fickle-mindedness. Everybody is identifying the same capability to identify. Everything is moving on that. So temporary appears as permanent. Why? Because to be temporary is the permanent nature of the world. Therefore it looks permanent. So perception will never die. Only thing, identification will change. As you have seen, as per your job, how many identifications you had? As per your work, how many identifications you have? As per your situation in the society, you are married, you are young, you are unmarried, you are mother, you are all those identifications, how many identifications you have? And every time some connection breaks, you say that is dead. Identification died. When the total identification dies there, then you become something like me. When the total identification with the form and everything finishes, then you become a tantric. That is the state of Tantra. So Tantra is a state, it's not a teaching. The highest stage of understanding of mind. When you understand this whole network, which is an illusion, so nobody dies. Perception will not die. It will not end. As long as this energy is expressing itself, it will not finish. And the moment energy will come back and express itself, again the perception will be there. Even when energy is not there, perception is there in the consciousness. Like when you go to deep sleep, you have perception left, but it is inactive. So nothing dies. It's all illusion, but nothing dies. It all goes back into the same consciousness and it comes back from there when the time at Mahakal, which we call in India Mahakal, when that expresses itself. That is the Shiva. Okay? Anything understood?
Something's understood.
Something.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Anybody? Any confusion? Anybody wants to know anything? They are very complicated thing right now. It may be difficult for you to understand, but anyway. So death is an illusion. It's a concept. It's not real.